Hey guys, I went ahead and built a Last Crusade Temple of the Holy Grail mock, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So when I do mocks, I like to challenge myself, and so my challenge this time was to base it off of the Temple of the Golden Idol from Raiders. So if you look, the bases are built exactly the same, so I wanted it to be to the exact same scale, and then as far as pieces go, I only used pieces from that Raider set as well as from the Escape from the Lost Tomb. So you can go to the Lego store or Target or wherever right now and buy those two sets and have all of the pieces to build what you see here. I love doing challenges like that because it's almost like a purist way of building mocks, and I'm actually pretty happy with the way that this turned out. Now, all I can think is, what would happen if you bought 2 Temples of the Golden Idol or 4 Escape from the Lost Tombs? How much bigger you could make it. But I really like the way it turned out, especially trying to match that Raiders set style. And let's take a closer look and show you everything here. So I tried to be as realistic as possible when I built this set and thought, okay, well, if LEGO made this set, what are some ideas and things that they might incorporate? Of course, the first place to start is the minifigures. So I went ahead and used a classic Indiana Jones from the new 2023 lineup, just because it's pretty accurate to what we see in the movie at this point. I, of course, also used Henry Jones Sr., who comes in the Last Crusade fighter plane chase set, because, of course, that's probably what LEGO would give us. For Sala, I went ahead and gave him the Fez piece with the new Sala head, and then this torso came from the Prince of Persia sets from back in the day. Now, if LEGO were to really make this, they'd probably use this head and Fez combo, but they'd probably give him a movie-accurate torso, but this is the closest I had in my collection. For Elsa, I used the old Elsa Schneider torso from the 2009 wave of Indiana Jones sets. Same torso, hair, legs combo, and the head is from Elsa from the Disney CMF, because Elsa and Elsa just makes sense. Then, of course, I went ahead and built Walter Donovan. I gave him the scarred-up Anakin head with the hair from Doc Brown for when he ages up after he, drinks from the incorrect Grail. And then, of course, I gave him this torso from Ross from LEGO Friends, the TV series. And then, finally, the Grail Knight is actually a custom torso that I got years and years ago, but the rest are all official pieces. The Magneto head, the white beard, the Knight's helmet, and then, of course, the sword from Lord of the Rings. So I felt like LEGO would probably give us a, new torso print for him, so I felt okay using a custom here. But minifigures aside, everything else in this set comes from one copy of the Temple of the Golden Idol and one copy of Escape from the Lost Tomb. So let's break it down piece by piece. So starting at the front, I wanted to get the general feel of the outside, but this is not movie accurate because, of course, we're working with limited pieces, and honestly, the outside of Petra would make an awesome LEGO set in and of itself. But I used these sloped pieces up front here with an archway, then, of course, these bricks here to add a little bit of texture with these poles right here. And again, it's not supposed to be movie accurate, it's just to feel a little bit like what we see in the movie and get the general essence across. Now, admittedly, probably the most boring part of the set is the front room here, kind of where the Great Seal is. Of course, the Grail can't pass the seal, or else the immortality no longer works, but I did go ahead and use this big kind of plate piece here from the throne room of the Temple of the Golden Idol, and then the circular piece to help kind of build the Grand Seal. Of course, the back is built using all of those tan bricks that we get from the Escape from the Lost Tomb, and then we also use a lot of these plate pieces here to get that kind of desert sandy look here, and then a lot of these pieces from the tombs from behind the Ark of the Covenant are used here for the steps that go up into the booby trap maze. Then, of course, we've got these pillars here, which, again, aren't super movie accurate because we've got, like, lion statues right here, but within the limitations of using the pieces from these two sets, I felt like this got the point across pretty well. Now we move into our first booby trap, and I'm going to have to show it to you from a couple different angles so that you can see how everything works. But we've got a spider web here, which Indy is going to have to push through, which you can do by going back here and pressing this tab up. That will move the spider web up and out of the way for Indy. Then this will drop down this little razor piece here. So in a perfect world, it would go on its own volition. So let me go ahead and line it up again and show you from another angle. So here we are from the other side. Again, we push down this tab to move the spider web out of the way, and then we pull down this tab to make the razor fall down. So it's not perfect. I'm not a LEGO engineer, but it's pretty dang close, and it does work pretty well. So you reset it here, you push the spider web out of the way, and then the razor falls down for Indy to jump through and past. Now that brings us to our middle section, and this is where Indy forgets that Jehovah begins with an I in Latin. So as Indy goes on the first step here, you can pull this tab out, and all those pieces right there will fall right out. So you do have to reset it for more play, but basically you just push this tab forward and pull it here, and then those pieces fall forward. So I really like that. Then, of course, we got all of those angled pieces from the Escape from the Lost Tomb, so you could kind of build out a puzzle piece on the floor, so Indy has to jump past the first one and then navigate his way over the Jehovah letters to get to the end. I don't think that LEGO would actually spell out Jehovah in a set, so it does kind of make sense that we wouldn't have it here. Then for the back wall, I used this rock piece from the Temple of the Golden Idol, as well as some other pieces here, just to build out a little bit more wall behind Indy. Now that brings us to the Leap of Faith, the final booby trap Indy has to circumvent, and I used a bunch of these like dusty colored pieces here just to build a platform for Indy to stand on, but because Indy takes the sand and throws it across the big gap there, I went ahead and made this just out of spare pieces that come from those sets, and now you have a bridge for Indy to walk across to get into the Grail room, so I really like that. And of course we have this big black plate piece here that comes from the Temple of the Golden Idol from where they swing across, so this is a good way to make use of that negative space that we see in the movie. And then of course the back wall utilizes all of those dark gray bricks that we have to help build out a background, even though in the movie it goes way further back. In the limitations of building a LEGO set, we gotta work with what we've got to work with. And now finally that brings us to the Grail room, which is a little bit cramped admittedly. I wish that there was more space for it, but the other thing is, because of the limited pieces we have to use in this challenge, there's only so many Grails that we can actually build, and of course I had to add a real Grail for my collection, because neither of these sets came with anything like that, but I tried to use some inventive designs on the back wall there with the studs, and then I used all of these tube pieces and one-by-one pieces to stack up different pieces that could look like a cup. I used this wheel for the fountain where you dip the water out of, and then if we zoom out a little bit more, up top you can see I utilized the light brick up here to shine a little bit of light into the room. Now, if we spin this around, we'll start to take a look at the actual bones of this, the structure. So we've got this big wall back here. I really liked using these angled rocks to build that out. Up top here, I used this piece, which has a Technic pin running through there to angle the light down to shine into the room. Then as we look around the back, it's not quite as pretty in the back because, you know, I didn't have the luxury of having every piece available known to man that LEGO designers have, but using what I was able to use here, I do kind of like the way it looks from the back, although we're never really going to look at it this direction because it's meant to be looked at from the front. But one cool thing I did as an homage to the Temple of the Golden Idol is I used these stickers on these 1x8 flat pieces just because I think it actually works pretty well. You could pretend that this is like the movie set, like the, you know, rafters, or just actual design for the temple itself, but I really love the way that this turned out, and this was such a fun dream project to work on. Alright guys, well thanks for checking out this mock. As a huge Indiana Jones fan, this was a big passion project, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Be sure to hit like and subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Well, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and maybe check out one of my other videos listed here.